In April, car tax is changing, and it's not just electric vehicles that are affected. Hey everyone, and welcome to The Savvy Squaddy. In this video, I'm going to go through what is changing with the Vehicle Excise Duty, which is more commonly known as car or road tax, and I'll be showing a potential way to delay the increase for a year. But before we get into what's changing, it's important context to understand how it currently works. So, the current system as we know it started in 1920 with its main purpose to fund road construction. The money was actually set aside in a special road fund. Then in 1937, the money was no longer ring-fenced and just went into a general tax pot. Today, the rationale for the tax is pretty much the same, an annual fee to use or park on public roads, contributing to general government funds including road maintenance. As a side note, who remembers these discs? Can nostalgia hit if you're only 29? Anyway, this is not a simple tax. The bands can depend on when the car was first registered, its emissions, its fuel type and engine size. For example, cars that were registered before the 1st of March 2001 have two different tax bands based off engine size. So depending on the size of the engine will depend on how much you pay. However, many viewers of this video probably weren't even born before 2001, let alone currently drive a car that was registered before then. So what about cars registered between March 2001 and March 2017, a time frame more relevant to people today? The Mondeo my wife drives falls into this bracket. Well, in this case, tax bands are based on CO2 emissions, and there are 13 of them. If you happen to drive a car that emits up to 100 grams of CO2 per kilometre, then you currently pay no road tax. But all that changes in April. The Mondeo we have at home falls into this category, and after April will fall into a different one, and we'll have to start paying some road tax. If you're curious as to what band your car falls into, then check out your V5C registration form. Now, what about cars registered from the 1st of April 2017 onwards? Well, because the government noticed the revenue from the Vehicle Excise Duty was decreasing as more and more cars let out less emissions, they changed it up once again. So, for the first year, road tax for cars registered after April 2017 is still based on emissions. But from the second year onwards, a standard rate is applied to all vehicles. At this point, only EVs were exempt. But to add even more complexity, if a car registered after April 2017 had a list price of £40,000 or more, then an additional £410 a year had to be paid for 5 years from when the standard rate applied. Again, EVs were also exempt from this premium band. Were being the key word there, more on that in a minute. But once again, changes are inbound, and as of April 2025, all vehicles on the road will be liable for tax. It's estimated that over 3 million vehicles will become taxable, raising around £325 million a year. So, what are the changes? Well, if your car was registered before 2001, the only change you will see is a slight increase in the amounts you pay, but it will still be based off of those two different bands depending on the engine size. When it comes to cars registered between March 2001 and March 2017, the lowest band is essentially moving in with his neighbour. Band A sees vehicles with low emissions pay nothing, but with the change they will now be lumped in with Band B and pay £20 per year. Again, refer to your V5C registration form to check your band. So for my wife's Mondeo, which is in Band A, we can expect to pay £20 per year for that. Important to note that road tax does increase each year in line with inflation. With cars registered between the 1st of April 2017 and the 31st of March 2025, irrespective of their method of propulsion, they will all pay the standard rate, which is £195. So, the Tesla I drive was registered in May 2024 and so was exempt from road tax. However, I will now pay £195 per year. Those fuel savings for driving an EV are slowly disappearing. And finally, cars registered after April 2025. So that first year rate based on emissions still applies. However, those with zero or low emissions will no longer pay nothing. They will instead pay £10 in that first year. And then, from the second year onwards, they will move on to the standard rate of £195. The premium vehicle band still applies, and now EVs are also included in that. So someone buying an EV after April 2025 which is listed at £40,000 or more, will pay £10 in road tax for the first year, and then that will increase to £620 for the second year onwards. That's £195 for the standard rate and £425 for the expensive car rate. This premium rate is paid for 5 years. If you buy an EV under £40,000, which was registered after April 2025, then you will pay £10 in the first year and then £195 from the second year onwards. So in my household, I can expect to be paying £215 a year for road tax for 2 cars. And oddly, the greener one is almost 10 times more to tax. But is there a way we can delay paying for it? Well, according to a post on Instagram by MoneySavingExpert, if you re-tax your car in March, you will lock in the current rate you pay and delay the new rates for another year. Apparently you can tax your car whenever, you don't have to wait until it runs out. I didn't know that, but MSE is a pretty reliable source. So there you have it folks, starting April 2025, car tax is hitting us all, from my wife's Mondeo at £20 to my Tesla jumping from nothing to £195. That's £215 a year for our household, and with inflation, it'll only climb. The government's raking in over £325 million extra from over 3 million vehicles like ours, all to keep the roads running, or so they say. You can dodge the new rates for a year by taxing your car in March, but after that, there's no escaping it. Is it fair? Should the rates be based more on weight of a vehicle than its emissions? Food for thought. Are you affected by this change? How much will you now have to pay? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all for watching. If you liked what you just saw, please hit the subscribe button up there. And if you want to see some more videos, click over there. See you soon.